Hi, this is Justin with How To Geek. Today I'm going to show you how to crack your forgotten Windows password. We'll be using Ophcrack and VirtualBox so I can show you how it actually works. First thing you need to do is download the Ophcrack CD from their website. We have that in the article. You would actually just burn that to an ISO, or burn the ISO to a disk, and then stick it in your drive and boot up the computer. For that, I'm going to show you using VirtualBox here. I have the Ophcrack ISO right there that I'm going to just go ahead and stick in the drive, and I have my Windows 7 computer here that I forgot my password. So let's go ahead and start that up. We'll just go ahead and show you what you can do with Ophcrack. Once Ophcrack loads, this is the boot for the CD. You can select a few different options here. Most likely automatic will work for you. If you have some problems with the video loading or the computer, go ahead and try one of these manual or low RAM modes as well. For this machine though, we'll go ahead and choose automatic. This is a great tool if you did forget your password, or for some reason you can't reset your password using a combination of other tools that we also have walkthroughs for. Ophcrack will be able to not only automatically load your Windows partition, but it will start cracking the password right away. So as long as the password's something fairly simple with the free tables, you should have your password shown in plain text in no time, so you can reboot and log right in. I'm just going to give it a second here so it loads up all the way. It boots automatically to a GUI, and the Ophcrack utility is going to run on its own. You can see here that it lists all of my users. I have the administrator, guest, home group user will be default in Windows 7, and then I made two other users, one for a hard password and one for an easy password right here. Down here you can also see that these are all the table hashes that are free. You can download those from Ophcrack's website, or it comes by default in the ISO. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to let it run here for a little bit. It's going to load those tables into memory and start trying to crack my password. Down here you can also see the passwords found. It's found 1 of 5 just because it knows that this guest user actually has an empty password, only because I actually don't have the user activated. You can't log in as a guest right now, so no password was ever set for that. So we're going to give it a second here. While you're waiting, you can also check out some statistics here of what it's actually doing in the background, and then you can even look at the graphs here to see number of passwords it's found, what the length of the password is. Here's that one password that is blank. It's a zero length basically. And so these are kind of neat little tools that'll show you a timeline down here showing you how long it's taken to crack a password. So it's been about 1:30 since the machine's been booted and trying to actually crack the password. And usually this easy password will happen, for me at least, the password that I set will happen about 1.5 to 2 minutes. So we're going to give it just a second here. While you're also waiting, you can see that the processor down here in the bottom right corner is pretty much pegged with running all the time, just trying to crack that password. And there, just got my easy password just before the 2-minute mark. You can see that is a fairly easy password, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0. Those will be probably the easiest ones for it. If you have something pretty basic, maybe one symbol, one capital letter, that's going to be just fine. With the free tables, Ophcrack never actually found my hard password, which was so long that I honestly did forget that password. And so it's not too surprising that Ophcrack couldn't get it, but with some of the paid tables I imagine it would. I just don't have upwards to $1,000 to spend to download those 130 gig paid tables. So if you're really in that tight of a situation to get your password, you're probably better off just resetting it, either with a Ubuntu Live CD or Ultimate Boot CD, or even a Windows Vista or Windows 7 Reset CD. The other password here, administrator, this password here is administrator with a capital A, and this one does take a little while for Ophcrack to even get. At least in this virtual machine, the processor is a little bit slower than if it was on a dedicated machine. And in most cases, if you do have a dedicated machine running a CD, depending on what processor you have, that is the limiting factor in how fast it can crack those passwords. So if you have a i7 or something processor or something faster, even with a few extra cores, that's going to definitely speed up the process. But even then, while you're waiting, you still do have a few things like a full web browser down here. You have Firefox available if you need to browse the web or do something else, look up possibly other password generators. You can't reset any passwords from here, but you can just view the passwords. So there's Firefox loaded up for you, and then you have a few other tools inside of this live CD. I don't know why you would want a music player, but you have it, as well as a wonderful little Sudoku game just to pass the time. So you can just go ahead and fill that out and kill some time while your passwords sit here and crack. Other than that, everything else is going to be fairly straightforward. I mean, you have some real basic tools, and really it's all just time killers until your passwords are cracked. In my case, though, because this easy password is already, the password's already found, and I know that this user is an administrator on the computer, I don't even need to wait for the rest of this machine to finish. The administrator password typically for me was taking about 20 to 30 minutes, and then the entire process took about an hour, and at the very end the hard password just says not found. And so we're not going to wait for it now. I'm going to go ahead and exit here. It says any key to continue. Go ahead and hit any key, and then yes to restart. Actually, that's going to shut it down so that we have a chance to pull out the virtual CD, the ISO there. We can unmount that from this image. Let's go ahead and take that out real fast. Empty that guy out, start it back up, and we're going to go ahead and let Windows 7 load up again. And as soon as it loads up, we'll get to our password prompt, and we'll see that 123456789 should work just fine for our easy password user. And from that point, because it's an administrator, we can reset other things. If that user wasn't an administrator, you still might be having some problems getting access to certain files. But with one of the reset CDs or a Ubuntu Live CD, resetting the actual password of administrator or of the hard user, something else that is an administrator on the computer, you'd be able to actually then create new users or change passwords of other users. But limited users, like a normal non-administrator user, would not have access to reset another user's password. So here we are. And log in with easy user 123456789. And there we go. It's going right in. That was our password, and that's how easy it is to crack a password with Ophcrack. One of those tools that is very handy to have, either a CD laying around or even using something like UNet booting and putting it on a USB drive where you can crack Windows Vista 7 and XP passwords all with the same tool. So that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed seeing a quick walkthrough on how to crack your passwords with Ophcrack.